tell you to play yet. MrBallen, stop jumping on things. This is another lost episode, number 7. I'm just on a roll with these because I'm loving them. And this one is, this man did the unthinkable to another passenger. If you like the videos, like. If you want to keep watching the videos, subscribe and like. And if you don't, I don't know why you're watching these. But if you like the content, please check it out and keep watching. And I hope you're enjoying them. Hope you're having a good day, because I'm certainly loving these. I'm on a kick, if you haven't noticed. So let's just get into it. This is another MrBallen Lost episode, number 7.
July 29th, 2008, a little after midnight, a 40-year-old man named Vince Lee boarded a Greyhound bus bound for Winnipeg, Canada, using a fake name. He had left his house abruptly without telling his wife where he was going, but he left her a note, which she would later give to police, and the note just said, "I'm gone, don't look for me, I wish you were happy." Vince rode the bus for 5.5 hours without sleeping and got off when it stopped in Erickson. And the bus driver would say to him, "Hey, this is not your stop, you want to get off at Winnipeg." And Vince apparently just did not turn around, didn't react to him, didn't even seem to hear him, and just calmly walked away. And so the driver eventually just kind of shrugged his shoulders, closed the doors, and headed off. Shortly after the bus left, Vince was spotted sitting on a nearby bench holding a sign that said "Laptop for sale, $600. And over the course of the rest of that day and all night, Vince was spotted by multiple people, not moving, not sleeping, sitting upright, looking straight out, not even blinking. The next day, on July 30th, a 15-year-old boy would approach Vince and offer to buy his laptop for $60. And Vince agreed, gave him the laptop for $60. Once the kid walked off with his laptop, Vince got up, went behind a nearby store, and burned some of his belongings before going back to the bus stop he had gotten.
Did I miss something with this guy? What made him just suddenly decide to be weird? I have to sneeze. I muted it so you didn't have to hear that. There's 2 good ones too. All right. Yeah. Did I miss something? I don't think I did. So I'm just gonna get back into it.
Off at the day before and waited for the bus. A little while later, at 5:55 p.m., Greyhound bus 1170 arrived at the Erickson bus stop, opened their doors, and Vince climbed on board and sat in one of the front seats. Sitting in one of the last seats in the bus was a 22-year-old father named Tim McLean, who had boarded the bus 5.5 hours earlier in Alberta, Canada, after a long stretch working at a carnival. When he got on board, he was exhausted, so he went to the back of the bus, put his headphones in, leaned his head against the glass, and had fallen asleep. And when Vince got on board, that's what Tim was doing. He was still sleeping in the back. As soon as the bus left the Erickson bus stop...
Anyone ever been on a bus? I never have. I can think of. Never been. Yeah, no, I've never been on a bus. I've been on a train once, but I've never been on a bus. And I don't think I could sleep on a bus. It would be too uncomfortable. Too many people. I don't even like sleeping in the car with someone driving that I know, because I'm weird like that. I will, but I don't care for it. I don't trust them.
Some of the 36 other passengers on board would say Vince was acting very strange. He was looking down and muttering to himself, and at one point Vince got up and he was pacing up and down the aisle towards the front of the bus. When the bus made a quick stop, Vince stood up, moved to the very back of the bus, and sat directly next to Tim in the same seat. Tim woke up, turned over, looked at Vince, gave him a quick smile, and then rolled back over and fell asleep, unfazed. The bus started moving again, and then a little while later, at 8:30 p.m., Vince stood up and went to the bathroom in the back of the bus. And some of the other passengers noticed he had a large knife in a sheath on his belt. 5 minutes later, Tim is still fast asleep against the window. Vince comes out of the bathroom and he goes back into his seat, but instead of sitting down, he puts his right knee on his seat and plants his left foot on the ground right in front of his seat, so he's facing Tim. He pulls his knife out of the sheath and drives it into Tim's neck. Tim woke up and he was trying to fight him off of him and he was screaming for help.
Yeah, we missed a lot, because apparently this man had a breakdown and became a psychopath.
but Vince was robotic and unemotional, just continuously attacking Tim until he went still. Other passengers were half asleep when this started, and so it took a minute before it registered with everyone what was going on.
Jesus.
And quickly people started screaming, and then the bus driver pulled over, and people were clamoring to get out of the bus. Once off the bus, a couple of the male passengers decided they had to go back in and try to save Tim, but when they walked up the steps and looked down the aisle, they saw Vince had pulled Tim out into the aisle. Vince's back was to the front of the bus, and they could tell that Tim's head was no longer on his body. At this point, Vince whipped his head around and looked at the three men that had come on the bus, and he jumped up and charged them with the knife, at which point the three men retreated and ran out of the bus, and luckily one of them was the driver.
This is Canada, right? Yeah, and I don't think they have guns, because somebody on that bus in America would have been packing, and they would have just handled it.
Who was able to
crazy.
initiate the security system on the bus that made it immobile so Vince couldn't drive it away, and it shut permanently the doors until you deactivated the security system.
Wow,
Vince
that's
tried
cool.
To push
That's
the
very
doors open, but he couldn't.
That's that's really good. Now you keep them trapped. Well, I mean, they can break through the window, but you keep them trapped in there. Yeah, that's a pretty smooth system.
Do it, so he went back up and continued to attack Tim's body. While waiting for the police to show up, horrified onlookers had to watch Vince as he continued to attack Tim, and in fact at one point Vince began eating Tim and actually held his body up to show them what he was doing. Finally, the police arrived, and after a standoff, Vince leapt out of one of the windows and was tased repeatedly and then arrested. Once in custody, he said he was sorry, but he also said the reason he did it was God was speaking to him while he was sitting on the bus, and he was instructing him that Tim was an alien who was going to attack him, and so he needed to go kill the alien to save the world.
It all makes sense now. The guy's a monster and just a psychopath. Yep, we get it now.
In a controversial turn of events, Vince Lee was found not criminally responsible.
What? He's not criminally responsible. So, okay. Did he go to a mental hospital? He went to a mental hospital. I'm calling it now.
For the death of Tim McLean, and so was not given jail time. He was sent to a treatment program that after he finished, he was fully released. He was allowed to change his name. He has no restrictions. He has no supervision. He is a totally free man. Just minutes after Vince was apprehended by police, one of the passengers who had been sitting near Tim when the attack started gave an interview where he described what happened. Here are segments of his interview.
What's going on in Canada? He murdered, and then no. And they let him go. And then they let him change his name and blend back in with society. Because that's a normal thing that you do. What did they think? Like he went that crazy. They were like, oh, no. He went that crazy. It was obviously irrationality that kicked in. So, don't worry. He's calm now. He's good. He's okay. He's no longer a threat to society. Really? That to me is more outrageous than random drive-bys. A random drive-by can be explained as just, okay, drug dealing or something like that. You go crazy like that, you stab someone multiple times and then continue to do it, decapitate them, and then start to eat them. Well, okay, he's not guilty of murder, but he should be in jail for not in jail, but in some mental hospital forever. What about the family? Like that guy's family, knowing that the guy who did it, oh no, he's free. Like that's fine, and we're okay with that. Maybe we should be building a wall to stop crazy people in Canada. Wow. All right, let's hear what this guy said, because I don't know if I want to hear it, but I'm going to hear it. But I'm going to pretend like I don't want to hear it, because right now I'm invested in this. I got to know where this guy is.
I was just reading a book. All of a sudden I heard a guy screaming. I turned around, and the guy sitting right next beside me was standing up and stabbing another guy with a Rambo knife. Repeatedly. Everybody got off the bus. Me and a trucker that had stopped and the Greyhound driver Ran up to the door to maybe see if the guy was still alive or we could help or something like that. And
You're not helping.
When we saw the head, we knew that the guy was dead. So then he saw us. He came back to the front of the bus, told the driver to shut the door. He pressed the button and the door shut. The three of us had weapons from the trucker's truck there, and we just stayed outside while he tried to get out the door. Telling him, no, stay put, stay there, don't try to come out. Some people were puking, some people were crying. The guy, he didn't care at all. He wasn't concerned with anybody but the guy that he stabbed was listening to his headphones and sleeping. I honestly don't think that the guy knew him at all. I think he was just really crazy.
So that's going to do it, guys. If you found the secret in today's episode, let us know in the comments what it is.
You know, I'll say this. They had weapons, and obviously you don't know what it is. But when you've just witnessed someone brutally stabbing someone else to death, and then take the head and just remove it and throw it on the ground and then begin to eat the person, whether or not that person had a knife or not, or whatever weapon that they had, you could have anything else. You could have any other weapon and protection in your mind, but you're just looking at that person going, they are too crazy to be dealt with. Like, there's nothing you can do to rationalize with that person to bring them back into a normal state of mind. And there's nothing that could have been, even if that guy got out and he didn't have his knife on him and he's just standing there covered in blood, and there are three people from that bus with weapons, those three people are still scared of what that person could do, because they've already witnessed what he could do without a weapon, and they don't know what this man is willing to do without one. And the adrenaline that's going through that person's body, they could have tased him. It probably wouldn't even have mattered. I mean, they could have had a gun and shot the guy, and it wouldn't have mattered. Like, that guy's adrenaline. I mean, at that moment, it wouldn't have. 15 minutes from now when blood loss is kicking in, but still, you have a weapon. There are three people with weapons. That man could not have had a weapon, and it wouldn't have mattered. The fear of seeing what that guy was capable of doing has already triggered you're bluffing with a weapon and hoping that guy is going to calm down on his own. I mean, and the only thing they were doing was just keeping him contained in the bus until the police got there, and I bet you they dropped the weapons and they ran home. I mean, they let him go. That's what. It's almost like they said, "Wow, yeah, that he'll never do that again." That was his one bad. I mean, they let him go. I have no words. I mean, I just think about that guy's family. Because if that was my family, that guy couldn't have changed his name enough. I would have, yeah. I'd have went for his family first. And he wouldn't have cared. Wow. Yeah, I'm just sitting here. This one's gonna bother me. I'm gonna have a dream about this guy. And it's not gonna be, it's just gonna be I'm mad at the system for letting him go. That's just so unreasonable. It makes no sense. I'm going to end it here because there's nothing more that I'm going to add that would be worthy of thoughts. It's just, I don't know. All right, well, I hope you're not traumatized and ruined by this one. But if you are, I apologize. Hope you have a better day than what I just had. Goodbye.